The energy right now is frustrating. Cleanse this energy. As soon as I said that, both of my ears started ringing. Let's cleanse this energy. Let's get rid of all of the weird, chaotic frustration. There's this sense of, a really strong sense of insecurity, of feeling not good enough, of feeling really like down. I am not in that energy right now, but I can feel it, and it's very heavy. Feeling of like I knew that I wasn't gonna be good enough, and this is proof. I don't know where that's coming from, but if that's you and that's how you're feeling right now, I hope that you can come into your own and release all of that negativity and embrace the power of who you truly are. And anything that's leaving you feeling undeserving, may you release it, and may you embrace your true power and your true value. Don't let things get you down. Don't let things take your power, no matter how much they may want to, or how good they may be at it. You know, it's still your power, and as long as you can claim it, instead of giving it over to somebody else, it will still be yours. So if you're feeling unsure about yourself and you're feeling this frustration, it's feeling like no matter what I do, it's never enough. And it's almost like it's coming from an external place, and then you're believing it. And I'm not blaming you. I'm sure that feels easier. And I'm sure it's easier said than done to, for me to say, embrace your power and, trust yourself and give yourself love and, to come up out of that. But that is what I hope for you. Just want to do a read quick. I don't know if I'm going to get scolded because it's already 10 o'clock and this is when we're supposed to have quiet time, so I'm not supposed to be talking out loud unless I we're outside or in my car. So I'm going to be kind of quiet about it. But yeah, that's the energy that I'm feeling right now. The way that the cards came out is that I have 3 clarifiers, and then the main card actually came face down. So I'm going to start with the clarification, and then we're going to move into what the core is. So what we are feeling on this surface is attacked. We're feeling like every single thing is hitting a very specific part of our insecurity. I don't know if I'm particularly feeling that way. Maybe I shouldn't speak in the third person that way. This feels like a read for somebody else, so I'm just going to speak in you, and then if it isn't for you, you will know because it won't resonate with you. Okay, so you're feeling attacked. You're feeling, we have the 8 of Wands in the upright. We have the World in the reverse in the middle, and then we have Strength on the other side. We feel, I keep saying we. I don't know. I guess it's a weird one. There's this feeling of being removed from one's personal strength, from the confidence that comes with being able to kind of wade through the negativity. And it feels like, there's this personal attack on one's own, not just foundations, but like all of the work that's been done, on the work that one's been doing off of its foundations, this long history of time and energy put into something intentionally, and that's being attacked. And it feels like, you know, we're not able to access that space, that security of, I've done the work and I can rest assured in that because I've already done the work. Okay, so what I'm noting right now is that both the Eight of Wands and the Strength card are actually represented by the number 8. And that both of them have this mountain in the back. And the World card has the lion and the woman. In the World card, she's free. She's bare. The robe that she's wearing in the Strength card is wrapped around her, and she's kind of free and naked. Where there's also the strength of the eagle, the bull, and the man figure. These are all the beasts of the apocalypse. I've been talking a lot lately about the tides changing and the tables turning, and we're coming to this point where the grand wheel of destiny it's been turning, it's consistently been turning, but it has appeared for a time to be turning in the favor of those willing to step over anyone else to reach their success, right? That's what the work has looked like, to a degree, to gain what has been perceived as success for quite some time now. You know, we've watched this world that we live in today be founded on conquest and war and bribery, thievery, slave ownership or enslavement of others, abuse, torture, those types of things, and also like this mystery underbelly of fear. And that's been the power structure that's been established for quite some time. But that's not the end. There isn't an end. That's just one side of the coin. As it flips, the other side of the coin is the opposite of that. It's that those that trust in themselves and don't need the external validation, those that don't need to walk all over everybody else in order to get where they're going, those that trust that I can go around and I'll still get where I'm going, those that trust that I can give the last 2 pennies that I have and it will be worth something, instead of giving just a fraction of your fortune and being like, well, that's far more valuable, to be able to trust in giving the last of what you have. Those that have reached out on faith, that have stepped out on faith, that have, reached out on faith to touch the robe of the Master, to receive healing, and then embraced healing themselves upon being told that that's what was required of them. Those that stepped out onto the water in faith, that although it defied all logic, it would carry them. Those that went to the places that they were called, even though it didn't make sense, even though they didn't want to go, who didn't fight it, who actively did those things without question, those who, accepted their karma, worked through it, and became better for it. Those people who have already dealt with just getting shit on their entire lives, but didn't let it make them a hardened-hearted person. Those people that have continued to be generous, who have continued to be compassionate, who have continued to be grateful. Those are the most empowered people in the world. Those are the people with true strength. Those are the people that are being uplifted now. And as this wheel continues to turn, there will be this entire period of time, as long as we've seen people that have ill intent on top, and people that are greedy for power in power, this period of those who have waited on their just reward being the leaders and the receivers of reward is going to be equal, if not even greater, than the times that we have seen. So it's about waiting on those things and continuing to do the work, even when it doesn't seem like, come on, it's been thousands of years that we've had people just conquering people endlessly and enslaving people endlessly and, killing and raping and pillaging. How can you trust when that there's anything beyond that? But I'm telling you that there is, and I'm telling you that the times are changing, and I'm telling you, like I promise you, that those that have held on with faith to what is good are receiving good. And that's only going to continue to progress and to evolve and to develop into something grand and beautiful over the course of this next period of time. So where all of these people that got to walk into abundance so easily, all of these people with privilege who just had it handed to them and then were, judgmental as to why nobody else had what they had, without receiving with gratitude the privilege that they received. All of these people who, were willing to rape and murder and sell people out and steal from others in order to get where they are. Those are the very people sending attacks at this point. And they're doing that because they're in fear in a way that they've never been. Those who have been underneath them this entire time have already lived in fear and overcome it and continued to overcome it again and again and again and again, because it's already been part of their reality. These people have only had privilege. They haven't had fear, and they don't know what it's like. And it is far more terrifying for them, for the fact that they're on top of this mountain, and getting knocked off of this mountain means that they have to fall much further into the chaos than those that were raised in it, right? So there's the separation between this feeling of being attacked and this confidence of, I've alchemized that. I don't have to fear being attacked by this lion because I'm a lion tamer. I know how to tame the lion, the fear, the attacks. Like, I know how to not just control those things, but embrace those things, and then thus use those things for my benefits. This comes, first it comes through being able to being forced to receive those things, and then learning how to control them, and then being able to alchemize them. And so there's this eternal balance that is always happening in that. The reason the world is upside down right now, it's changing, it's moving. We're going from a constant feeling of attack, a constant need to attack, and a constant war that's being waged, to being solid in our own personal strength and in the commitments that we've made to ourselves and in the, confidence to be able to embrace the things we once feared and to use them for our own power. But we're in a point of transition right now. We're in this point of transition. It is a cloak of uncertainty, not because there isn't an assurance of what is on the other side. But it's like, it's kind of like when you're driving and you're driving up a hill and there's a very, very steep precipice and you've never been on this road before, you're not comfortable with this road, and as you're driving, you're just having to assume essentially that the road comes directly after that hill, that it just keeps going on, but there's no way of seeing it, and there's almost this thought in your head and a concern, because what if the road turns directly on top of the hill, right over that peak? What if there's a car trying to pass another car right over there? You have no idea what is over that precipice. You do. There's the assumption that the road continues after that, right? But there's no visual assurance of that. There's no manifested assurance of that in the current reality. You're going 55 up and over this hill, and you're just trusting that on the other side of that hill is more road, right? It's kind of like that, and going into it like that, where you have to go with a fool's, mentality. You have to be willing to, because if you start freaking out, you're going to end up slowing down, stopping, not being able to make it over the hill. You're going to end up veering to where you might actually hit a car. You have to be able to trust as you come up over that hill that there's a reason things are set the way they are. There's people have been doing this for a long time. Everything is set up a specific way, not for your destruction, but for you to reach your destination as safely as possible. That's why we have the road signs that we have. That's why we have the pavement on the road, the gravel on the side of that. That's why there's all these things even in your car that are preset to secure you in the knowledge that these things aren't set for your destruction. They're set for you to meet your destination, right? But it is an uncertainty. And it's funny because this is how I had this picture before, we're living in a sphere, and everything comes full circle. So the train of abundance, right? Let's say there was a line of people, right? And there's all the people here who receive the train, and there's all the people here at the end who don't get onto that train, right? So all these people get onto the train of abundance. They're all the first to get on. And then the train takes off. And all of these people missed that train, right? Sort of deal. That's what it's like. They missed the train. So now the train is leaving. And looking at it leaving, it looks so different. It looks like it's leaving, and then it goes around this curve, and now you suddenly don't see it anymore. And it's well, there goes abundance. There goes all the good things. I wish I could have been the first in line so that I would have gotten on that train. There's a fear of loss in that way. But the truth is that train comes back around. It comes back around to that station. And the next time you see it, you're not going to be looking at the ass end of it. You're going to be seeing it come head on as it comes right at you. And that's going to be quite intimidating and terrifying. And that's kind of the point of this period of uncertainty, is because that in of itself can be terrifying. Feeling like you have no idea where to look, what to do, how to move. You have to, it forces you to go inward. It forces you to be able to trust yourself and trust what you know, to trust the skills that you've gained through the attacks that you've endured, to be able to craft for yourself the things that are actually meant for you, that are personal for you, and to trust that those things are coming full circle and that they'll come back around. To be in that state of, I'm scared because I don't know but I'm okay because I'm here right now. I'm okay right now. And just to sit in that and just to rest in that and to wait on the assurance of abundance to come in, to wait on that faith. And like I said, once that train comes back around, you're looking at it head on, and it looks very different than, you know, the engine of the train. Looking at it head on looks very different than staring at the caboose of the train as it heads in the opposite direction of you, you know, and fades off into the distance. As you watch the train engine come over the distance again, at first, like, there's these feelings of uncertainty, even in that. And like, here comes your train. Here comes the abundance that you were waiting on. But from such a distance, sometimes it's like, well, is it really going to reach me? What if it hits me? You know what I mean? It doesn't look the same as what you anticipated. It never does. Because the only thing that you didn't see the front of the train. You weren't on the train. The only thing that you saw from that train was the caboose, headed in the opposite direction, fading off into the distance. So of course it's going to look very different when you see the engine coming in your direction, coming out through the distance directly at you. It's going to feel differently. It's going to look differently. It's not going to be like how you anticipated. And so much of like the frustration and depression and issues that we are feeling right now energetically, a lot of people be like, I don't even know where it's coming from. I'm probably just tired. I probably just didn't eat right. It's probably because I'm just like, I've been thinking about my ex a lot lately, or like, you know, I'm scared of like these new changes that are happening. You know, worried about this, worried about that. Like, it's those things too, but it's also that like, we're not fully accustomed to trusting, to moving on faith. So much of what has led those that are about to be on top to this position has been just pure survival mode. Like I said, like being forced to look into oneself just to survive. And so it's hard to then, once you've been in survival mode for so long, to embrace the faith of good things coming or receiving good things that way. You know, when I first moved into this space that I'm in right now, there was nothing going on at it anymore. Like, I was in a place of peace. I was in a secure place where like I didn't have to fear anything. Everything was secure. But that was the first time in my life, really, that I've had that sense of security. And because I've had so many years of chaos, of confusion, of concern, of, you know, having to survive, having to protect myself, having to be so keenly aware of all of my surroundings in order to make sure that I'm not being, you know, taken advantage of, that I'm avoiding any threats, that I'm, you know, there was so much constant anxiety in my active reality. And I had to go through all of that so consistently in order to survive that once I finally found myself in a place of peace, I didn't know what to do with that. I did not know how to properly receive that at first, like, at all. I'd been training myself. Thankfully, I'd already been preparing for it. I had already been foretold that that's the position that I would be moving into. So I could trust that. But it was still like an anxiety-inducing experience, not because there was anything going on that was leading to that anxiety. It was because there was nothing going on. I'd become so accustomed to having to survive that it was very hard to stand on faith that I no longer needed to be in that position, that I had survived, that I had done the work, and that I was actively receiving my just reward. It was incredibly difficult. And that's something that like a lot of people that struggle with PTSD upon healing to any degree come upon, is that feeling of like, okay, but how can I trust this? It's triggering me because this person's being healthy, and I've never seen that before. And anytime I've seen anything that even resembles that, it's been a trick to lower my inhibitions, to make me more willing to be vulnerable, just so that it could take advantage of me. So, you know, I'm not trying to bite the hand that feeds. I'm not trying to defend myself against the goodness of my existence, but I can't trust this yet. I don't know how to. I've been trained to not trust. So how do I receive these things well and with grace? It's very easy to have this feeling of negativity, and of like a, you know, to not be able to trust in the innocence and the positivity of what is coming. The Death in the Reverse. Normally when I see this card, I see it as I see it as positive, because I am a Scorpio. This is my card. But in this reading, if it were in the upright, it would be denoting, it denotes transition, right? But it's this fear of transition that it's denoting here. There's this fear of, I can't trust this because nothing's ever been innocent in my life. I've had to do so much to survive. And there's this fear of, how can I trust that it's a positive transition? How can I trust that it's not just something out to get me when that's what it's always been? The truth of the matter, though, is that this entire period of time where the power structure has been against our favor, against the favor of those, you know, called to do a great work, in favor of those that have been lazy and conceited and given to comfort and convenience and willing to, you know, like I said, like do all sort of deplorable things to somebody else just to gain some favor. That this entire period of time has not been to rob you, has not been to ultimately hurt you. In fact, all of those things that you ever endured were done so that you could be in the position now to be able to receive something so much greater, and to be able to recognize it as something so much greater, and to be able to truly appreciate it. Those people that got on the train at first, when it first left, had not had to wait. They didn't have to watch the train leave and go off into the distance. They didn't have the fear of all of the time that it took for it to come back around, to question, do I even have the right ticket? Am I sure that this is the right train? Am I in the right place at the right time? How is it that I missed it? To beat themselves up about those things, to be filled with all of that doubt, to be, you know, dealing with all of the people that fought them to even get first on the train in the first place. Those people didn't have to deal with it in the same degree. And so they don't receive the benefit of the blessing that it is to receive that train when it comes back around after all of those things. And the point of that is because this is a cycle. This is something that is progressive over time. We aren't an island. We are part of a greater whole. Those that came before us received less blessing than we receive now, for the fact that we have undergone so much more than they did in order to get here. And that's the work. Just like I said in the Mario reading, we're like, if you played one level of Mario and then found the princess at the castle, and that was the end of the game forever, and there was no more Mario, that would defeat the entire purpose. The point is to have all of those different levels and all of those different struggles and all of that different betrayal and all of that different sense of loss or sense of, like, confusion, sense of, I just did all of that work and the princess isn't even in this castle. All of that leads to the genuine reward of actually beating that game, right? Of actually succeeding to win that game. Without all of those things, those things are the game. Those things are the game. Without that, there is not the just reward. So as much in our personal experiences may seem silly, because it's like, well, I didn't choose to want to have to play the whole game of Mario, right? I didn't want to have to do this. I didn't want to be the one to win it. Like, yes, you did. You did, and that's why you chose this. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. If you would have chosen to be one of those that was willing to overstep everybody else to get to the front of the line, to take that first train, you wouldn't be here today. And you wouldn't be waiting on that train to come back around. You wouldn't be hearing the sound of the engine deep in your heart and deep in your soul, off in the distance, and that's driving you delirious, being like, I must just be making that up in my head. I can't see the engine, so I can't trust that it's there. I don't understand why I would feel these ways. Like, you chose this. You chose to be where you are in your life right now. There's a very, very special and particular reason that you are here right now where you are, feeling all of the things that you're feeling. Embrace it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't let these things take total control over you and your emotions. You can rest in peace, assured that these things are for a purpose that you chose for yourself, so that you could receive what it is that is to come. Now, these things are still within your power. They're always within your power. If you choose to deny that, if you choose to deflect that, if you choose to embrace depression and anxiety and bitterness and a feeling of loss and a feeling of sabotage and all of the bad things that have ever happened to you, if those are the things you want to focus on and receive, those are the things you can receive. That's your choice. That's your freedom. That is on you. You are master creator of your own reality, of your own perspective, of your experience. But if you could just give yourself the love and care enough to be patient and to be at peace and to wait on your just reward, knowing that you've already gone through enough. You've gone through it. You have gone through it. And now you're embracing the positive. And now you're doing something different. You're doing something different. You're not going back there anymore. You're not letting those things affect you that same way anymore. You're no longer having to fear the teeth of the lion. That lion is your friend, right? If you can embrace those things, that power is yours. It speaks for itself. But you won't know that until you embrace those things and until you move on faith. You know, this card ended up at the top of the read for a reason. It's moving on faith. That's what we are here for right this moment, right now in time. And we will see a just reward soon. I know people have been hearing this for thousands of years, but it's true. It's true. But you have to move on faith. You have to move on faith. And if you move on the faith that as soon as I walk out onto this water, it's going to come crashing down around me. I know for a fact I'm going to fail. I know for a fact that nobody loves me, that all of the things I've ever wanted in life will never be mine. You're the one manifesting that. It is your choice to choose what it is that you're choosing to receive, what you're receiving, what you're believing. So my only encouragement in this can be to let that stuff go and to let the positivity speak for itself. Embrace love, embrace goodness, embrace the things that you want to see in your life. Even if it's just a tiny, 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 tiny little bit in the midst of all of this darkness and confusion and uncertainty. Even if the only thing you can find is at least I'm here. At least you're here. You're here. You're exactly where you need to be right now. You know, and the more that you embrace those things, the more that they grow. The more that you plant the right seeds, the more that the right harvest can be secured. But if you're not planting the right seeds, or if you're planting the right seeds on unfertile ground, on rocky ground, on ground filled with weeds, on ground that doesn't get enough water or doesn't get enough sunlight, you cannot expect a great harvest. The greatest, farmer couldn't. The greatest farmer is one who has learned those skills in order to know how to plant well, what to plant, and how to plant it well, and how to wait for those things to come to fruition, how to cultivate those things until they come to fruition. That's what a good farmer is. That's what waiting for a good harvest looks like. It isn't just expecting these things to fall out of the sky from the universe, although there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff happening. But if you are in the future, there is, but If you are in alignment with your highest power, you don't have anything to fear. You don't have anything to fear. That's why you can move out on faith. That's why you can give when you have nothing. That's why you can love when you're hurt. That's why you can, offer people security even when you're afraid. That's how you do those things, is by trusting in your highest power, by stepping out in faith, by trusting that there's something bigger happening than just your personal experience right in this moment. There's something bigger about your personal experience than just this very moment. There's something so much grander than how you feel right this moment, right this second. And you have the capacity and power to not just receive those things, but to actively choose and manifest those things the way that you truly deserve. But you have to believe that, and you have to embrace it. You cannot keep telling yourself that what you deserve is nothing. That, if you tell yourself, I'm a good person, I deserve good things, the more you tell yourself that, the more you will have to become a good person in order to receive good things, or you will become delusional, right? So it's about not just planting what you want, but knowing how to plant it and how to cultivate it and how to harvest it so that you can receive those things. There is a constant work to be done, but I'm telling you that the tides are changing, the tables are turning, and those that are doing a good work are going to receive good from it. More than has ever been seen in our lifetime, more than ever has been seen in the past 200 lifetimes. We're in magical times where many magical things are happening, and we don't need to trust outside of ourselves for validation of what we know to be true in our hearts. We can trust our light, the light in ourselves. We can hold on. We can be patient. We can trust. We can step out on faith. We can know that train is coming. It's coming. It's coming around the bend. I can feel it. I know it. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm supposed to do. And I know that I will see that come to fruition. I do. I know it. I know it. I've done the work. I've literally done the work. Everything is already lined up. I can already hear it. I can already sense it. I'm already seeing little buds sprouting up. I already know that harvest is at hand. I can trust and rest assured in that. And I do. And I do. I have plenty of external powers trying to distract me, trying to convince me that my power is not mine, that my power is theirs to be given to me. I know better. I've done the work to know better, and I rest assured in that. And I'm happier than I've ever been because of that, and I'm more abundant than I've ever been because of that. And I can do the things that I want to do without this guilt or fear, because I rest assured in myself. I'm not so special. This is what is required of any of us that are trying to do a great work. Again, I keep saying it in all these videos, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. For real. It's going to look different for every individual. That's the fun thing about getting to know yourself. You get to learn how it is that you do things and why, But if I can do it, it can be done. Plain and simple. So don't get caught up in the negative emotions. And if you do, don't beat yourself up about it. Just let it all go. Let all of that go. Let that train go off into the distance and trust that it is going to come back around in a way that looks so much better than you could have ever anticipated. Trust that. Lean onto that. Watch what wonders sprout up from that. Because I promise you they will. They will. When you have faith, it moves mountains. It moves mountains. It can take, just like my last reading, it can take one tiny, insignificant habit and move him across every mountain in Middle Earth to the grandest mountain of all and back to his comfortable little habit hole where he can enjoy the rest of his life in peace. That's what faith does. It's true. It's true. I know it's silly and I know I'm nerdy, but it's true. And I want to share that with you. I want to example that to you. I want to watch you embrace that and see that come to fruition because you deserve that. We all do. And it's happening. It is. So get prepared. Get excited. Stay positive. Trust in it. Watch it happen. Okay. I will see you soon.